All right, hope everyone's having a nice weekend. It's Koosh Sunday time, so we're doing weekend market update. I'm going to keep this one really simple. I'm going to look at Bitcoin for clues in what I think is going on in all the markets. We're not going to be talking about any headlines because we don't do that here. We're focused solely on what the technicals are telling us at every key inflection point since I've been doing these videos. Back here, before every big move, we've had the most doubt, the most concern, the worst headlines, and this time isn't any different. And from an Elliott wave standpoint, from a trend standpoint, from a Wyckoff standpoint, we use all those things to kind of triangulate on where we think we are and where we think we're going. As always, I could be wrong. The things I talk about could go up, down, sideways. I'm not a financial advisor. You all know that. With that, let's jump into it. And so first off, I just want to let's just go back to when I started doing these videos. Back here in the spring of 2023 and examine what it looked like coming out of that flat correction. What did it look like as it relates to price? What did it look like as it relates to sentiment? What did it look like as it relates to the power coming out of the move? And then the first check back prior to the largest impulse of that larger degree move. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to continue doing this exercise all the way up to where we are now. Keep this really simple. And what do we notice here? What do we notice? We notice a few things. This was one of the most intense time-based capitulations I think I'd ever been a part of. Where price literally did nothing, was just flat in a range for almost 6 months. And the more we came down here, the more we came down here, the more bullish I got. Okay. And what did we do finally when we broke out of this bottom in September 23? We made a smaller degree first impulse and check back 2 weeks, 50% retracement of that smaller degree impulse. What did RSI do? RSI was under 50, right? Under the MA, and it kind of broke over it and checked back to it. Okay. This was that like slingshot moment right here. The 1, 2. And that area preceded the larger degree move, 50% retracement. Okay. And what was the news like back here? I don't remember. I just remember sentiment was pretty bearish and people were thinking we were going lower. The 30-week, we just kept consolidating under it. I said that was a sign of strength, right? No dumping under the 30-week, just sticking to the bottom of it in the cloud. And the Wyckoff structure was clear back then, right? Spring, LPS, SOS, SOS, expansion. Expansion followed as we thought it would. All right, let's go to the next. Let's go to the next structure following a large correction consolidation. When was that? That was this, what was it? March 2024 through August lows. And what did price again do? It made an impulsive movement up and out, but then it checked back, and it checked back to the 618. That's what I've got here with my fib levels. 01618 retracement level of that entire move that it made. What did the power in RSI do? Again, RSI, we were under 50, broke out above the MA, which was in a downtrend, checked back to it. And what did this precede? This preceded the larger degree move. So again, here's a check back on the RSI in price in the smaller degree 1, 2, and that preceded the larger degree move. All right, that's twice so far. Now where are we? Let's bring up the current price action. Where are we right now? We are in a similar situation coming out of a prolonged consolidation, okay? Where again, we were hugging up under the 30-week moving average, heard calls for new lows. Meanwhile, the dominant structure in this entire chart is much stronger than this area and this area. Why do I say that? Because we're working on this macro reaccumulation, okay? Macro reaccumulation, consolidation, breakout, check back. And so we check back to the 618 and that. So far, what's the progression? Consolidation 2023, breakout, check back to the 50% retracement. Correction, wasn't a flat correction. Breakout, check back to the 618. And now where are we? What are we doing? We are simply, this first move out was greater than the previous two that I shared with you, okay? That's greater than what I just shared with you. And we are currently checking back, and we haven't even hit the 618 retracement, which it's at 95,873, which is where the 30-week simple moving average is. And so do we tag the 618? Maybe, maybe not. In the members videos I've been doing for the last month, I talked about when we got up here, okay? I talked about when we got up here, taking the leverage that I put on, the initial capital in terms of leverage, out, okay? For the reason that maybe this happens. We get a check back. And the lowest I was looking at was the 101 area. And so we're past that. Okay, so what? I'd never sell Bitcoin, expecting to buy back cheaper here. Good luck with that. I see, a lot of great, supposed great traders that are doing that. Show me how that works here. This chart doesn't go all the way back, but go look at 2017. Tell me you're going to get every one of those moves. It ain't happening. It ain't happening. I do not believe those claims when I see them. The longer you are in a market, in my opinion, and when you have plans for accumulating when things go down, I think that's more of a recipe in my mind for success. Do I think net worth, people that bought Bitcoin here are selling because of a headline? No. I think market makers are selling. I think speculators are selling. I think leverage is getting flushed out. That's what happens at these key inflection points. No reasonable long-term investor, in my opinion, purchases Bitcoin without at least a 4-year time horizon, and you aren't waking up seeing a headline that this, shipping channel potentially is going to get closed, and oh, I sell my Bitcoin. That's not a progression. That's a progression that leads to traders, stop losses getting triggered, speculators that aren't so sure that might have jumped in here, getting washed out of the market, and or people, speculators unsure of what they believe is coming next. That's not me. I'm very emboldened in what I think is coming next, and I think it's 300 to 400K is coming next. And whether that happens in 6 months or a year or 2 years, I have no idea. But what I do know is what have we done with this check back so far from a power perspective? If we look at the RSI that went under 50, we slingshotted over it further than we had in either of the two situations I just shared with you, and we're checking back to the MA. This MA is starting to curl up. This is bullish. This is objectively bullish. Just like this was objectively bullish back here in October of 2024. Just like this was objectively bullish as the MA was flattening out, and we checked back to it back here in October of 2023. Okay, so impulse is next, in my opinion. Whether we go a little bit lower or not, I don't know. I don't care. The next big move I'm concerned about is this one right here. Our true expansive third wave. And I continue to believe, we could get something into the 170s, check back to 145, 200, 180, 220 before our next real, multi-month consolidation. And so that's where I think we are, folks. Ignore the headlines, ignore the news, check back in a few weeks, and I think we'll see a picture that's a lot different than most people are thinking about right now. As always, appreciate your support. Take care and have a great rest of your weekend.